All right, so I got about 20 hours on this bike now. So this is going to be omitting any of the initial setup issues and initial running issues that I had. This is just really looking at the last 15 hours where I've ridden this bike without any issues. So let's start there. So yeah, last 15 to 16 hours, I put a few hundred miles on this bike and really not had any problems. I have broken and lost a few things, but that's kind of to be expected on a dirt bike. But to me, they were relatively minor things. So let's dive into it. So, first thing is I'm roughly at 20 hours, but I don't rightly know anymore because that's all that's left of my hour meter. It was sitting right up here, and sometime last weekend bounced off somewhere out in Pike National Forest. Now, unfortunately, I would love to get it back, but I don't think I ever will. It's gone. Other than that, the only other things that I've lost, quote unquote, is this Kickstarter bolt, that silver one that was there. OEM's a black one. Lost that somewhere on the trail, but new one for 50 cents at Ace Hardware and some Loctite. Now we're okay. Did also lose this brake bolt down here, but found a new one. You know, that one was a free fix. Other than that, no leaks from the engine. I've done, I think, 2 oil changes, 2 or 3. I can't remember because I have had multiple engines, so it starts to blur with how many times I've changed the oil and coolant between them. But I'm going to change the oil again today, make sure that's looking all good. But the engine has so far been running well, no issues. Last weekend I did a lot of start-stop work, like ride for 5-10 minutes, stop, start it up, stop, start, and was doing that just fine, no issues. RK Tech head, I really, really do like that thing, and I just think it makes the bike just run really well. At this point, I'm not even about whatever performance gains it gives me. I think it just makes the bike run well. Like, that's just me. And part of the reason why I say that is I don't think my carb is tuned 100%. I think I'm a little rich on things, which would make sense because I'm kind of tuning it down here at 5,000 feet, and then I'm riding it at 7 to 9,000, or possibly above that, up to 12,000 feet. I haven't actually gone over 9,500 feet or so yet. But even so, with the carb being a little rich, it seems like the RK Tech head just kind of allows the engine to still run really nicely if your jetting's not 100% on. So I know it's expensive for these things. It's like $350. It's really pricey, but it's a nice unit. They do nice machining work, and it seems to work really well. I'm just using pump non-ethanol gas, so not any race gas or anything crazy like that. So yeah, that's the engine. So far, so good. No complaints from my side, no weird issues. It throws down power well. It's easy to ride. It lugs super low. Like third gear at 2,000 RPM will crawl up a hill. It'll just keep going. It's just kind of like it pulls super nicely. And then a little bit of clutch and it'll get right back into the RPM range. And the clutch is very light on this bike. I don't know if they did something with the Belleville washer or whatever, but I've had a few people that have KTM 300s actually say that the clutch pull on this bike is lighter than a KTM 300. So, take that how you will. I haven't ridden a KTM 300 in recent enough time for me to say. As far as the suspension is pretty good. It's not great by any means. It gets a little harsh as you speed up, but it's pretty good. It's predictable, and I haven't found it like crazy hard to control or bouncing me all over. Plus, Joe Henner, who now works for GPX, has found some K-Tech suspension parts that will fit into these. These are essentially WP Explorer forks. K-Tech parts will fit in there, and he can modify them to essentially make them really nice open cartridge forks. So I'll probably be paying for that, and that is a little pricey, but I really do value my suspension. It's nice to have a really good suspension, and I think that's what we're going to get out of that. Plus, then I'll have really good Chinese forks, which is not always something you can say. There are some modifications for the shock as well, like a rear bladder and things like that, but I'll have to talk to him more as he gets his stuff figured out. But OEM suspension is pretty good. I can't, like, it's not crazy plush by any means. My buddy has a 2015 KTM 500 that I've ridden a few times, and it's got the I think it's just open cartridge forks that obviously they've been set up over the years and things like that, but they're pretty nice forks. They really do soak things up nicely and make for a nice smooth ride. These are a little more harsh than those, but it's still not unpredictable, still able to keep speed up and all that. And yeah, I think the last thing is tires and wheels. I did switch out the tubes inside for moose balls, and that's just because I riding alone a lot out in the woods and I don't want to deal with flats. Never want to deal with flats, they suck. But these tires are like an MX216. They seem to work really well. I would highly recommend people actually use the OEM tires, which was not the case with my previous 2 GPX bikes. I did not like the OEM tires. I thought they were kind of crap, and I don't even think I used them. I think they're still sitting around my garage here somewhere. But this is like a Shinko MX216. I don't like it as much as the M59 I have on my other bike, but it's a good tire. And the rear is it's like a Shinko Cheater 525, also nice and squishy. Also has moose balls inside, but no issues with this thing. It's a really big tire, which I'm sure it mutes the power a little bit, but you do not even notice it. It's a 140 width tire, and it sits on there really nice, and you get some good traction. Meanwhile, on my other 300R, I got the 110 width, and this is a VE33. That's even softer of rubber compound. But at some point, I'll probably switch the VE33 and the M59 over to the TSE300 just to see how it feels and how I like them, because I have a whole set right here. And this set is a tubeless rear, moose front. This is moose balls, front and rear. But yeah, if I skip past any setup issues, initial issues, no problems with this bike once I got it running. Right now, I'm just kind of cleaning things up. That's the only reason why the gas tank's off. And then I'm going to re-grease it, get my air filter back in, fill up my gas, and go ride tomorrow. Enjoy it. Hopefully everyone else is getting out there and riding some this weekend.